I'ma keep it realistic first. I ain't gonna lie. I'ma keep it realistic first. I ain't gonna lie.
I would say the plot from start to finish is quite obviously an insurrection. The only way to get around that is to either justify an insurrection, which is what most conservatives do, they don't realize it, or to deny that an insurrection could ever happen, or if you're not aware of all the facts of what happened. I think that Donald Trump and his cronies had a very coherent plan that they tried to enact from start to finish, starting with false claims of voter fraud, leading to false slates of electors that filed themselves as state electors under perjury, which is what they did, up to the violence that happened on the day of the certification of the vote, where Donald Trump and his friends continued to try to delay the peaceful transfer of power by contravening the certification of the Electoral College vote.
You heard that right. We need to stop allowing people like Destiny to get into these debates and we don't look up the information right then and right there. You heard what his claims is. Now, let me show you. It was an insurrection, okay? So Democrats did this in 2016, you guys. They did it by law. It wasn't an insurrection, okay? The faithless electors who opposed Donald Trump were part of a movement dubbed the Hamilton Electors, co-founded by Michelle Baca, and whoever. The movement attempted to find 37 Republican electors willing to vote for a different Republican in an effort to deny Donald Trump the majority in the Electoral College and force a contingent election. Okay, so by Destiny's own admission, then whoever does this is insurrectionist, and this happened in 2016. The Democrats tried the exact same thing, except for a slight difference. They wasn't sending their own slate of electors, but they was going to have their electors change their votes and vote in somebody else, so that the electoral points didn't reach 270 and that it can turn into a contingent election. 2016, they did that, okay? And as you can see here, because this is stuff Destiny don't know apparently, the Supreme Court ruled on the faithless elector challenges. After the 2020 election, after Joe Biden had already took office, then they decided to make a rule on what happened back in 2016. Reason they was able to do that is because it's legal. These were the legal means that Trump and his team was taking to challenge the election certification and the electorals being sent so they can investigate what happens and send it to a contingent elections. We can see that. So it wasn't just Donald Trump. Look at this. 139 members of Congress and 8 senators were in line to challenge the election results on the day that the January 6th event happened. This guy, Destiny, is taking a serious L because he don't know how the Electoral College works through and through, apparently. And he also don't know that just in the last presidential election, the people who he runs behind did the exact same thing. So again, what was his argument here?
I would say the plot from start to finish is quite obviously an insurrection. The only way to get around that is to either justify an insurrection, which is what most conservatives do, they don't realize it, or to deny that an insurrection could ever happen, or if you're not aware of all the facts of what happened. I think that Donald Trump and his cronies had a very coherent plan that they tried to enact from start to finish, starting with false claims of voter fraud, leading to false slates of electors that filed themselves as state electors under perjury, which is what they did, up to—
Okay, stop, hold it. So it was a plan. The electors who opposed Donald Trump were part of a movement dubbed the Hamilton Electors, co-founded by these people. So that means they were having talks and chats about how to use the electors to change the outcome of the election. This is exactly what they was doing. So when you say they was conspiring, it was a conspiracy. I mean, people making phone calls to decide how to move forward with a contentious election and what they need to do to even move it there. It's not part of an insurrection. Like and subscribe. I'm giving this guy the business. We can no longer allow Destiny to debate without looking up the information immediately that he says right then and there.
To the violence that happened on the day of the certification of the vote, where Donald Trump and his friends continued to try to delay the peaceful transfer of power by contravening the certification of the Electoral College vote.
You mean exactly what the Democrats did when it was time to certify the vote for Trump? Check this out, Destiny.
As recently as 2016, the Clinton campaign brought multiple post-election court cases, demanded recounts, and ridiculously declared the election stolen by Russia. Many Democrats even attempted to persuade the Electoral College delegates to overturn the 2016 results. House Manager Raskin.
You hear him say the Electoral College delegates, they was trying to use those Electoral College delegates the same way that Donald Trump's were using Electoral College delegates to force a contingent election. This is all by law. This is all legal.
Objected to the certification of President Trump's victory 4 years ago, along with many of his colleagues.
I have an objection because 10 of the 29 electoral votes cast by Florida were cast by electors not lawfully certified.
I object to the votes from the state of Wisconsin, which should not be legally certified.
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the electoral votes were not.
There's no debate.
And I object to a certificate from the state of North Carolina.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of.
So if I listen to the logic of Destiny, this was an insurrection also? I don't think so. And guess what was happening on January 6th, which leads to motives for enticing that riot? Guess what was happening? Republicans from the Congress and Republicans from the Senate were challenging the same way that the Democrats had did before. By the way, do you know 7 states were planning on sending 2 slates of electors? Do you know that? You probably don't know that because Destiny don't know that. So if you follow Destiny, you don't know that because he don't know that. Okay? So the same thing was happening on January 6th. They was challenging the same way we watched the Democrats challenge. They were going to challenge. But guess what? Oh, very conveniently, the doors were open and people were allowed to walk in. So now we got to stop the hearing and go ahead and run to the back. And then so we can just certify without letting those congressmen and those senators challenge that election. Okay? And yes, Mike Pence could have allowed those Congress people and those senators to challenge the electors coming from certain states, which would have made it a contingent election. But he didn't want to do that. Why? Because Mike Pence is part of the deep state institutionalist rank. And it was all inside him and Nancy Pelosi. Him and Nancy Pelosi was down with it. So after they did their little stunt for the January 6th, guess what? It wasn't no more senators or congressmen ready to challenge anymore, and this would happen.
Declares the joint session dissolved.
Watch this. Right on, man. Good looking out, buddy. Watch Nancy Pelosi, how she do Mike Pence. They was working the whole thing together. Look at this. She's over there elbow bumping the heck out of him after he went on. Look, he like, yeah, let's do it. Destiny, your whole argument that you kept repeating throughout this podcast with Zero Hedge, you kept repeating the same old thing about Trump and the electors, trying to get electors together when that was the legal means of forcing a contingent election. If y'all like this video, go ahead, just give it a like, share this video, because it is time to expose the people who are just making stuff up. And Destiny is one of the debate people that I've been seeing recently that gets on debate and literally makes stuff up. All because he's well-spoken and he talk fast, but you can clearly see that those were legal means that they was taking. So this case in Georgia with Fannie Willis and this other prosecutor, federal level, all of this is laughable. These are things that people have already done. As recent as 2016, they was already doing the same exact strategy pretty much. You're taking L.
I'ma keep it realistic first. I ain't gonna lie. I'ma keep it realistic first. I ain't gonna lie.